Okay, good morning, everyone. My name is Fernando Hurtado. I'm presently the responsible of safety and environment in the E&P business of Repsol. But the last 3 years, I spent my life in the desert, developing the project called the Reggane project. I'm going to tell you about the story of the project and how we were doing for living in such a hostile environment. There will be a country overview, a project framework, then we will have the challenges that we were facing, and then some of the statistics of the HSE performance that we have done in the project, which I believe is a remarkable thing. Okay, for the Reggane project, I'm not going to discuss a lot of the economical indicators here in this room, but just something, perhaps you don't know Algeria as a country. And Algeria is the largest country in Africa. Is on the size of Argentina, and is about 4 to 5 times the size of Spain. The thing is that all the population, the 41 million, are located in the top north of the country. So then the rest is the Sahara Desert, and is mostly there is no inhabitants there. There is an 11.7 unemployment. This is the official figure. We do believe that in the south, the percentage is much, much bigger than that. The political life, it has some uncertainties because of the possible or not re-election of Mr. Bouteflika as the president of the country, which creates a lot of uncertainty in the country and all the regulators. The foreign reserves are declining very fast. That means, for a project point of view, that means that it is very difficult to justify, but that you have to import things. So then you have to, it's a very low industrial production within the country. So then to create a project from this nature, you have to import almost everything. And if you have restrictions and you have to justify every single thing, that create a lot of delays in the process. One thing I would like to mention also is the security in the country. You will see in the top down on the map. This is from the Foreign Affairs of Algeria. So the red zone is where you cannot go unless you want to do something crazy. The orange thing is that you can go there, but with military escorts. The yellow one is to be careful, don't go there. So then, as you could see, movements around Algeria is very difficult. In our area, we have to move always with a military escort, which, again, from the project perspective, is limiting a lot all the logistic, all the work outside of our CPF, our plant. In terms of production, the reservoirs, the fields in Algeria are declining. The internal consumption are increasing. So then there is a lot of pressure for new projects, for new developments, to be able to be running on time, because also the country needs the gas, not only for the increasing growth inside the country, but also for the long-term commitments they have through pipeline or from a LNG point of view. Another thing that, as a project, we would like to tell is the World Bank creates a ranking of ease of doing businesses in the country. So then Algeria is number 166 in a total of 190. So that can give you an idea how easy are doing things there. But if you need to trade across the border, you need all the import things. We are in the position, Algeria are in the position 181 out of 190. And believe me, it is true. Then, as we were mentioned that before, the production is declining, so that they were putting a lot of pressure into the project. So then Sonatrach is an national oil company. It's owned by the state. That means that you have, as your partner, you have also the regulator, but you have also as your partner, you have also the people who need the gas. So then the pressure is not also from outside of the project, the pressure is also inside of the project. This is something that we normally use to justify overruns, to justify schedule delays and those kind of things, but we were not the case in that case, but even McKinsey was providing this kind of comparison. Doing projects in Algeria is something very difficult. That makes the projects last longer than in any country in the world. So then you could see the three competing projects in the southeast, to add Timimun and Reggane. We were all going to last between 15 and 16 years from the initial stages of the project, which is something very, very difficult to handle. In fact, the other two projects to add was done Sonatrach, of course, in all of them, and also with NG. There is a delay. Actually, this transparency is not well updated, and probably will start in 2020. Timimun has started middle of 2018, but it's still not the full capacity. And Reggane is the only one that started in the latest position. You could see that the green stripe start. We start in the latest position, and we finish first. Just a couple of words of Repsol in the country. We have been in the country since 1973. That provides us some experience in dealing with authorities and dealing with the local partners on a track, which I believe is something very valuable. And also we have a portfolio in which we are covering from exploration, developing, and production in oil and gas. So then we have exploration right now in Bugesul together with Shell. We have exploration in southeast Tbilisi, close to the border of Libya. We have development still in Reggane because the project will continue drilling and developing two more reservoirs during the next few years. And we have production in TFT, which is a joint venture with Total. Now let's talk about the project. The Reggane project started exploration in 2003. So then that's 15 years ago. There were 3 different campaigns of exploration done finishing in 2010. Then we were partnering with Sonatrach, of course, with DEA. Sorry, it's RWE, but it's incorrect. They changed the name to DEA, and also together with Edison, the Italian company. We submit our field development plan on October 2009. And we received it approved with some big changes in the scope in November 2011, 2 years later, the submission of the initial project. Then the exploitation period, the concession is for 30 years, so then the project will be hopefully producing until 2041. You could see somehow in the little map over there that we are about 1,100 kilometers from Algiers, which is the capital, which is all the financial and industrial zone. And we have also around 750 kilometers from Hashimia Saud, which is, let's say, another oil and gas pole. That means that we are 3 days apart by truck of any piece, any spare that you may need in the Reggane project. Sometimes the people compare this with an offshore project. We are surrounded by sand. The offshore projects are surrounded by water, but we have nothing close by 3 days by truck. Okay, the rest of the scope of the project. The scope, there were integrated mega project. That means that we have to develop subsurface, drilling, surface facilities, and then going up to a startup of the two things together. So the surface facility was consisting on a plant, of a gas plant of 8 million cubic meters per day. 75 export pipeline, then 280 kilometers of gathering, combining all the wells, sending the gas from all the wells to the plant. Then we have to construct all the facilities for the logistics. We need to construct, first of all, an airstrip, sand airstrip, temporary. Then we have to build the final one. Then we have to build the temporary camp. Then later on, the final camp. So everything has to do it twice. First of all, because we cannot use existing facilities, we cannot go to nearby population because there is none. So then we have to build almost everything on the logistic. The living camp, for give you some ideas, is 250 people, apart from 100 military that we were living with us. We're in a very close environment, let's say. From subsurface, we were developing 6 fields, 4 of them in the first campaign. And also we will be drilling 69 wells, and we will developing 1.7 TCF of reserves in 2P. The first gas was done in 2017, last December, 13th of December. And we have done also 3D seismic at the beginning. The capex for the project was around 3 billion, which we have spent around 2 billion in the first phase. And one of the most important things I have to mention is the contribution of the people. We have bring almost 100 expats from Repsol during the life of the project. This will decrease to about 50, 60 during the operation phase. And then I say that you will see that later on a picture of that. That's one of the most key factors for the success of the project. From the logistics, I was saying that this was about an offshore project. You can see on the right, this is the temporary camp. This is at the beginning of temporary camp. We were facing 2 things: where there is nothing around. Second is that the local or nearby local people they have no skills to work in an industrial environmental project like this one. So then we have to bring all the workforce from outside. Could be from the north of Algeria, but most of them from outside Algeria. So then we have to build a camp, which normally is something very limited for the PMT. This camp was for 3,000 people. So then to have to feed the 3,000 people, to have the security for 3,000 people, to have all the safety, all the medical, all the evacuation methods, all the transportation by plane was a challenge for a logistic point of view. Apart from the drilling, we were drilling with 3 rigs in parallel, which was something very difficult also. Each rig was associated with a camp of 250 people. Again, 250 people. There were 40 military, 40 safety contractors. And they were moving 2 months, 3 months, each 2-3 months in another rig, another well site, and so on. So then, again, the logistic for that is something very, very difficult to follow. The air transportation was also a challenge. How are we going to handle 3,000 people moving every month by air? So then we have to have 2 airports, actually, temporary airports. We have to have very strong audits on the local aviation companies. So then we were using Repsol standards, and I believe that was a success because we have no incidents, no accidents, of course. Land transportation is also a key factor in the success of a project in Algeria. It's the 3rd country in the world with more accidents, road accidents. The first one is China. So it's not in terms of dividing by number of people, it's absolute numbers is the 3rd in the world. That means that the culture of safety in driving in land transportation is, let's say, almost non-existent. So then, and also the place where we were, if you have an accident, you have a rollover, and you are alone, the chances that you get alive are very small. So then we have to install IBMS system in all the cars of the project. So then we can locate every single car, track everything which is associated with a project. We implement that thing. And also we were providing training for all the drivers of the project on a continuous basis. We were having a company contracted that were doing everyday training courses for defensive driving. And we have some accidents. There was no fatalities involved. Regarding the security, you see the picture on the right-hand side. We managed to have a green zone that allow us to go from our temporary camp to the CPF, to the plant. Even if it is located 2 kilometers away, at the beginning of the project, we have to go with a military escort. And we cannot go apart from the specific position you have to go. So then, for us, I mean, it's okay because we were very few, but for the workforce of 3,000 people, that was absolutely impossible. So then we managed to have what we call it a green zone, so then we can move freely inside. But again, it was an achievement because that was something difficult to get. Okay, as I was saying and just was mentioning, I declare this as a hostile environment. Okay, how can I tell you how hostile is this environment? Okay, we made this comparison. The pictures on top are Mars, are the pictures taken from the rover. You could see the device in there. The ones on the bottom are Reggane. So then regardless, the first, that one, I have never seen that one. This is my desert. Okay, so then there is nothing, no dunes. There are only dunes in one small portion on the north, but we were building the plant over there. So then the temperatures are normally in summer means 6 months a year, are reaching the 51 degrees Celsius. Our town, which is 120 kilometers up north, Adrar, was reaching this year at 62 degrees Celsius. So then officially you will never see that, because according to the law, if you reach 50 degrees Celsius, you have the right not to work. So then officially there is always 48 degrees. But it's 48 degrees from March to October. So then, and also it's not only that, it's not only the temperatures, it's not only the isolation that you're facing, it's also that the climate gives you some surprises, which is sandstorms. Sandstorms is not something occasional. Sandstorms are something that we have during some seasons almost every day, and during the summer perhaps once a week or two a week. The project was done on an on-off basis, like an offshore project. Then the people were staying there 28 days and then rest in their houses 28 days. Imagine that you are in your day 27 and this is coming. So then the people start getting nervous because this is for sure that tomorrow the plane will not fly. The plane will not fly. So then you will have to stay there for another week or so. Some other challenges related with environment. You could see from the plane there are these green circles. This is actually because they are sitting over one of the most, or the biggest reservoirs of fresh water. But sometimes it's very deep. But they managed to have some wells to the water. Then they bring up now with pumps. And then they start farming. They start cultivating things, mainly cereals and some fruit, oranges especially. So then when the sun is exhausted, then they move a little bit farther and they start again. You could see, but this is the middle of the desert. You could see that there is nothing wrong. So then what we need to do, the first challenge is that we cannot influence, we cannot change, we cannot modify the water they use for their agriculture. So how can we do that? We have to create, we have to create the awareness with the PMT, of course, the project management team, but also with the workers. Workers cannot go there and destroy everything. So then we have to be very cautious about that. Again, with the waste management. Waste management, it was a problem. So then we, and also avoid contaminated sites, we decided to drill, for instance, instead with an oil-based mode, to drill with a water-based mode. So then remediation of the wells are much easier than with oil, and you don't have the risk of spills and so on. And also the use of Repsol standards in all these things, I believe, has been one of the key factors for the success. You're going to see a video in a few minutes after the presentation. It's a very small video. You will hear about the fugaras. Fugaras is the way they transport the water in the desert. How they do that? They identify where there is water. Don't tell me how, because they has been doing this for the last at least 1,000 years. They identify the mother well, so then they dig a hole until they reach the water table, then start digging a gallery to convey that water to the town or to the oasis they need to go. This is an idea of how the gallery is dug by hand, and it could take 12, 15 kilometers. So then they have some access to maintenance because that gallery collapses quite frequently. So then one other thing that we have to take care is to be very careful not damaging the fugaras, because it's the way they are living. There is a small oasis with a few 10, 20 houses. They are living from this water. You will see that in the video later on. So then one thing that we have very clear is that we cannot damage that because it's the way of living of them. And we have done some efforts not to damaging or to repairing some of the damage, because we were using very heavy equipment that sometimes facilitate the collapse of one of them. The results in terms of HSE. I put this, I'm not going to go to the numbers, but it's roughly about 34 million man-hours, which is something, let me tell you, remarkable in these circumstances. Which were the results of this management of the security, of the safety? This is the famous pyramid. As you could see, we have no fatalities. We have 7 incidents with losing working time, which is a very limited number. And even we have a period during the project that we were having 15 million man-hours without any incident, which is also something very difficult to achieve. And this is the numbers, more or less, that we have. Environmentally, we have the environmental damage on the bottom. There were 14. Mainly there were small spills from diesel from the tank or from hydraulic oil, something very, very limited, not very relevant. In terms of statistics, if we compare the project during the peak of the man-hours, the 2017, together with the OGP, which is the standard way of doing this kind of milestones, we were very well. We were you could see the orange one on the left is Reggane, the one on the right is the OGP. But as those are, let's say, averages, very general, we would like to compare also with the projects of North America. You could see the comparison over there, and also with the projects in Europe, so that you could see our performance were even better than the average of the industry in oil and gas in Europe and North America. And especially remarkable is the drilling. During drilling, I remember three rigs in parallel, moving every 3 months, 2-3 months. Then we have no LTI. This is probably something unique in the industry. I put a picture just to tell you that the plant was quite complicated. It was not something like a couple of pipelines and that's it. Okay, let me just 1 minute to discuss about the team. The team, as I told you, during the project was about 100 expats. And this picture was the inauguration day, 17th of December 2017. And we were having the visit of our senior management there. And these were the people from Repsol that they were on duty that day. I mean, there was the people working that specific day. There are in the picture are 37 people. They were coming from 11 nationalities different. So then you could see that the diversity, that even the personal experience that we have living 24 hours a day with this kind of people, that's absolutely amazing. And I believe it is the factor that brought to the project to the success. Just a couple of pictures of the plant, the night of the first gas, the night before the first gas, and also that last one. And also, Benito, please play the video. I'll leave you there.
In the Sahara Desert, in the southeast of Algeria, lies one of Repsol's fastest projects worldwide. A staggering logistical challenge to develop a gas field in one of the most hostile environments on the planet. Project Reggane, begun between 2003 and 2010 with a successful exploration campaign that stemmed from a crucial decision to look further afield beyond the most well-known hydrocarbon areas and venture into unexplored territory.
Esto que se ve aquí atrás empezó con una zona plana de arena. De hecho, nosotros arrancamos el proyecto viviendo, estando movilizados en un pueblo que está a 120 kilómetros de aquí. Se levantaron carreteras temporales y después definitivas para poder acceder al sitio. Se construyó una pista de aterrizaje de tierra para poder sacar y traer a la gente en sus rotaciones.
Nous avons fait tout le possible, nous avons étudié tous les risques, nous avons fait toutes les analyses pour que les gens, quand ils viennent ici, ils viennent pour travailler, pour avoir un environnement de travail agréable et pas d'accident. Nous ne voulons pas d'accident, c'était notre but principal dans le projet.
In spite of its extreme, dry climate and frequent sandstorms, the area has an ancient underground water channel system known as fogaras.
Son galerías subterráneas que ellos excavan a lo largo de muchos kilómetros. A partir de un pozo madre que capta el agua subterránea, el nivel freático, van construyendo una galería puede llegar a decenas de kilómetros con varios pozos de aireación y de acceso, tanto para reparación como para construir la propia galería, y todo ese agua se canaliza a zonas de oasis en las que ellos tienen sus plantaciones.
Repsol's promise is to put every possible safety measure in place to ensure its work in Reggane is carried out with the utmost respect for the environment at all times.
Aquí el agua es un bien que vale como el oro, quiere decir, todo el desarrollo agrícola, toda la riqueza de estos pueblos de la zona se basa en el agua subterránea. Cuando implantas una actividad como la nuestra, oil and gas, en la zona, utilizas parte de las reservas de agua subterránea que ellos utilizan, entonces hay que ser muy cuidadoso con cómo la utilizas y cómo puedes devolverla en parte a la comunidad para que siga utilizándola en su habitual forma de subsistir, que es la agricultura.
Il fallait faire très attention par les analyses de risques et ensuite l'étude d'impact avec des professionnels, avec des archéologues, avec des géologues, avec des gens qui sont spécialistes. On devrait avoir un résultat là où on peut éviter tous ces problèmes, surtout quand il s'agit de Fougara.
Since 2009, over 200 Repsol professionals have been to Reggane. At its peak, the project involved the workforce of more than 3,000 people, of more than 36 nationalities. The project has been carried out with an on-off working pattern. People work for 28 days straight and rest for the next 28, which has meant an added strain for these professionals.
Primer día que llegas, después de estar 4 semanas en casa, dejar a tu familia, ese día todos estamos con el ánimo un poco por los suelos, ¿no? La vida aquí es bastante dura, son muchísimas horas de trabajo al día, pero la complicidad con los compañeros, el buen ambiente, son pieza fundamental de tener una convivencia aquí agradable y entender que aquí estás la mitad de tu vida.
Si tienes un problema en casa, sigues con el problema hablando con tus compañeros en la cena, después de la cena, viendo el partido de fútbol. Todo ese tipo de cosas hace que la relación sea extremadamente intensa. Y aquí se ha juntado un grupo de gente en el que eso lo ha llevado perfectamente bien.
Trabajar en un equipo donde hay personal de 15 países diferentes, de verdad que te aporta mucho a aprender de sus creencias, de sus culturas. Luego el personal local son gente muy interesante, gente orgullosa de su país, de su cultura, de lo que tienen, de lo que han logrado.
Cuando conoces lo que hay detrás, cuando conoces cómo llegas con un avión a una pista de aterrizaje hecha de tierra en medio del desierto del Sáhara, entiendes el esfuerzo, el coste y sobre todo valoras más el poder tener esa valvulita en casa que abres y sale un gas y te tomas una ducha caliente.
December 13th, 2017 saw the start of production and processing of 8 million cubic meters of gas per day, the outcome of the hard work and hopes of all of the Repsol employees who had worked on one stage or another of Project Reggane during the last 15 years. This project symbolizes Repsol's ability to surmount challenges and stay in its position of technological leadership in one of the most inhospitable areas on Earth.